himself testified that a prophet has no honor in his own country. Then when he was coming to Galilee, the Galileans received him, having seen all the things that he did at Jerusalem at the feast, for they also went to the feast. So Jesus came again and came to Galilee, where he made the water wine, and there was a certain nobleman whose son was sick at Capernaum. When he heard that Jesus was come up out of Judea to Galilee, he went unto him and besought him that he would come down and heal his son, for he was at the point of death. Then said Jesus unto him, except you see signs and wonders, you will not believe. The nobleman said unto him, Sir, son, come down here. My child died. Jesus said unto him, Go thy way, thy son liveth. And the man believed the word that Jesus had spoken unto him, and he went his way. And as he was going down, his servants met him and told him, saying, Thy son liveth. Then inquired he of them the hour when he began to amend. And they said unto him, Yesterday at the 7th hour, the fever left him. So the father knew that it was at the same hour in the which Jesus said unto him, Thy son liveth, and himself believed, and his household. This is again the second miracle that Jesus did when he was come out of Judea into Galilee. Amen. Father, we thank you for the reading of your word. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Look at somebody and say this with me. Say, what will it take? What will it take? Just simple. Look at somebody and say, what will it take? What will it take? You may have to see some from the Lord. I told my friend Bishop Nichols this morning, we often talk on Sunday morning and sometimes throughout the week. He's in Milwaukee, so I told him, and y'all have to understand, I told him Milwaukee, because he lives in Milwaukee, Milwaukee can't just be a city, it has to be a state. So I said, how's the state of Milwaukee? Yeah, see. And he says to me, he said, what are you preaching this morning? I said, well, I've got my Sunday school lesson for the 8 o'clock hour, and I have my Easter speak for the 11 o'clock hour. So welcome. So y'all get my Easter speech. He's risen. Amen. Okay, y'all have a good day. All right. I thought about several things when God began to deal with me concerning this verse of scripture and the thought that's associated with it. We think several things. What would it take? And you like, it's not a complete question, but it is. You might say, what would it take to get you on the same page with me? What would it take to get you to invest in whatever project I have? What would it take to get you to help me, to assist me? What would it take to move you from where you are to where you're going? I have a job offer for you. What would it take to get you to transfer? And you think, well, what would it take is not a complete statement, but it is. Because when Jesus is dealing with this man has a problem. It wasn't his problem, but yet it was. It was his son that was sick. And his son was sick almost to death. The word said E-R-E-F, which means before. So he says to Jesus, come down before my son died. And he stops Jesus because Jesus has turned water into wine. He has healed and so forth many miracles. And this man is privy to know the miracles that Jesus has done thus far. The scriptures call him a nobleman, which will depict to us that he was a man of means. He was perhaps been a governmental official. He had finances. He had people working for him. Did you notice he said the servants met him? He wasn't a poor man. This man had it going on. And isn't it amazing that in the hour we're living in, people that really got it going on, some of them don't want to know Jesus. Feel like they can meet it, they can get everything done on their own. Well, come here. This man probably was having everything done without following Jesus. But it took his son to get sick for him to come to the Lord. I don't know about you all, but I wonder what would it take to get your attention, to get our attention, to put us on the page that God wants us to be on. I told them this morning that when tragedy strikes, there are one or two things happen. We either say, where was God when this happened? Have you ever heard the statement made, where was God when this happened? Or the next statement is, where is God? We're either, where was God and why did he let this happen? Or now that it has happened, where is God? Because I need him. And so things happen in our life to bring us to certain junctures, to cause us to seek God on a different plane. Am I making sense here? And so when you see the phrase, the little few words here, my little 4 words here, the phrase, and when they say, what will it take? The question is profound yet very simple. Because a lot of people will say, what will it take? What will it take for what? What will it take for you to believe God? When you live in a society where people are not trying to live for God, frankly, they don't want to know God. And then again, they don't care if God even exists. And some don't think God does exist. Everything just happens. I mean, the world just happened. The big bang, and then everything started rolling and happening, and we got everything where we see it now. It just happened by osmosis. Yeah, there was no great designer. No, there was no God. There was no great being that put all this stuff into its place and caused every star to be in this particular place in the galaxy. It just happened. It just happened that tadpoles end up in the water. Where did the tadpoles come from in the first place? It just happened. I ain't gonna talk back to me. It just happened that man evolved from monkeys to men. It just happened. What will it take for you to not only believe God, but know those of you that are here, you believe that there's a God. There's not a question. There should not be a question in my mind whether or not, am I making sense to anybody else? It's not a question in my mind whether or not you believe that there's a God. But the question would be, how deep is your belief in God? And what will it take to cause your depth in your belief factor to be established? What would it take for you to dig in and cause your roots to go down deeper and seek for a greater place in God? When you plant a tree, somewhere I heard that when you see a tree going up, if you dig it up, you find the roots is just as tall or longer than the tree itself. Because it planned on being there for a long time. And if you plan on existing in God for a long time, you can't just be a surface hanging Christian. Because the first storm comes to knock you over. The first wind that blows, you change your mind. Anyway, the wind blows, I'm sorry. Anyway, there are things in our life that will come to cause you to change your mind. Begin to second guess whether or not Christianity is real or not. I told this morning I have to be careful because I go off on the deep end. And if you had to come on a Tuesday night so I can go off on the deep end, I got to just explain to you what I'm talking about. But on Sunday morning, you really don't have a chance to really go off too far on the deep end. But and so when I went this morning at 8 o'clock, I'm not going now. Demographically, I can't afford to go there. Here we go. When I began to think about what everybody else has been exposed to, they've been exposed to gods. And when I was in the barbershop about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, there was a young man who said there was other gods, and we being black, the God that we serve is not the God of the Europeans. Our God, the God that we serve now, is the God that the slave masters gave us. Can I just be real in here tonight? The God we serve now is the God that slave masters gave us. Have anybody heard that yet? Y'all gonna talk about me? Have you heard that yet? All right. And so you say, well, if that's the case, then why the slave master serve them? If it was only there to keep the slaves in check, why they serve? The other thing was this: to suggest that it's the white man's God would suggest that Moses was white. It would suggest that Jesus was white. It was. Y'all think he was white? Had blue eyes and long blonde hair? Really? I'm sorry. Anyway, you would suggest that people live on the equator, their skin didn't change. How can you live in the desert and you stay like you live in Ireland somewhere? Are you understand? Yes, y'all need to build it on. This is not a racist message, don't misunderstand me. My point is, you can't listen to a whole lot of nonsense and say, hey, you know what, maybe what I believe is not right. Who cares what color they were? Who cares who brought this? What really happened, I told you this morning, that the people, when they came out of the Iceland areas, they began to conquer nations and places and all over the world. And when they come across this real religious stuff, they start holding on to it. Guess what? Then they started believing in stuff and that was real. If you really get into this word will change your life. Amen. And some of those people got into the word and it began to change their life. And because they changed their life, they began to share it. Come on now. Can I help you? So they said, well, you know what? Well, some of their religion would been around longer than Christianity. You're right. Let me ask you a question. How many of you have stories, testimonies, or diaries that you need to update? Some of you grew up with diaries. Some of you grew up writing a journal, keeping the journals of your life. Have anybody ever seen your journey or have you made it public yet? And when it becomes public, does that mean you just can't show up on the scene? My point is, just because they can't track that God had been here all this time doesn't mean he wasn't here. It just means this is when he decided he wanted to expose himself. Amen, amen. And the other thing, a lot of times people are giving credit to a God and not the God. Because when you're in ignorance, you do all kinds of things that ignorant people do. Yes, sir. Am I making sense yet, though? And you say, what does that have to do with anything? Well, it has a whole lot to do with it. What will it take to get you to change your mind from being a Christian to being something other than? Because if you associate with other people, then their belief system will rub off on you if you're not careful. Am I telling the truth yet? Some of the things they enjoy doing, if you don't be careful, you'll find yourself doing the same thing, and then you're justified. You say, well, ain't nothing wrong with it. They're doing it. Or, I'm sure God doesn't mind. It's okay. Anyway, we all creations. We all God's creation. We all God's children. We all go in the same place when we die. Yada, yada, you know. And we're trying to justify it. So what is it that can change your mind from being a Christian? One scripture said, Acts 26 chapter, the Bible said when Paul had a chance to testify, he testified to one of the leaders at the time called King Agrippa. And King Agrippa said, Paul, you almost persuaded me. He said, man, you almost convinced me that I need to be a Christian. You know what that said? That said that Paul was talking some real strong stuff. Now, when people around us and we don't rub off on them, they will have a tendency to rub off on us. Ooh, this is a hard time to preach. Let me find my other notes from my Sunday school. Because my Easter speech ain't going too well. Yeah, but it's the truth, though. So what is it that can change your mind? So when I looked at this, I thought about several things. What will it take to cause you to believe in him? What will it take to cause you to believe in him? And I look at this man's story. The man says, my son is almost dead. I want you to come now. Jesus had previously made a statement to him. He said, unless you see a sign, you won't believe. I read that, right? Now, this is what I thought. He wasn't saying, unless you see a sign, you won't believe that I can heal your son. No, he believed he could heal his son before he showed up. You would never be talking to God about something you know he's able to do. Come on now. If you didn't believe. So if this man's talking to God because he believed he's able to heal him. He's already seen miracles, so he believed that if he worked other miracles, he can work this miracle. Am I making sense here? And so it's not, so the argument is not, he was saying, I believe, I see a sign that you can heal, I can believe that you're a healer. That's not what it was. His point was, unless you see a sign of this miracle, you won't believe that I am the Messiah. And some of us need to know beyond the shadow of doubt that what we believe is truth. Amen. No matter what Oprah says. That's right. That's good. Here we go. So he says, Jesus looks at him and say, your son liveth. And the Bible said, when he gets left, let me look at the scripture again. When the Bible said this man goes home, before he goes home, he meets his servant, that's in the 51st verse. And as he was now going down, his servant met him and told him, saying, thy son liveth. Then inquired he of them the hour when he began to amend. And they said unto him, yesterday at the 7th hour the fever left him. So the father knew that it was at the same hour in the which Jesus said to him, thy son liveth. And himself did what? Believe. And himself believed, not believed that he was a healer, but believed that he was a messenger from God. Amen. Y'all with me? And sometimes things happen in our life to bring us to the realization that how real God is. Sometimes it's not until tragic strike that we come to the light of knowing, man, this stuff is real. Have God ever spoke to any of you all and you're like, man, I think God is real? I mean, my first encounter of knowing I heard the voice of God, it freaked me out. I mean, all my life, you just think it's just your conscience talking to you. Anybody in conscience ever talk to y'all? Y'all think it becomes strange. Have your conscience ever talked to y'all? If I was in a real old church, they'd say, all right, Pastor, preach now. Have your conscience ever talked to you all? And back in the day, you think, some things I go to do. See, I'm real young people. Back in the day, I used to have the plastic bags with me and just carry around with me, have in my socks and everywhere. And I showed up for the party. How many of you want? Hello, somebody. Or you don't want the whole bag? You just need a few out of there. Okay, here you go. Am I making sense yet, anybody? And so, one day I was at this house party, and I was sitting there, and I had a moment. I began to flash back and remember, I've been here before. I mean, it was like, ooh, scary. So I got up and left out of there. They said, where you going? I said, I'm going home. Say, why? I said, I've been here before. I don't know how, don't know what, but my mind is telling me to go home. You know what? I went home. Didn't go to jail that day. So the Lord will speak to you. You will hear from God. But one day I was in the parking lot at MD Anderson Hospital, and I was praying and asking God a revelation concerning him and concerning water baptism, that type of thing. And God spoke to me in an audible voice. I'm like, wow, but this is deep. It wasn't hallucinating, it wasn't there. Y'all so still. I love no hallucination or nothing, but I heard voices. And it blessed me because now all of a sudden I knew what I heard. And guess what? When I encountered a Jehovah's Witness I used to work with, she couldn't change my mind. Because I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt how real God was. Y'all with me here? So that was a couple of things. So what would it take for you to believe in him? The other thing is this. What will it take for you to try him? What will it take for you to try him? There's some things in our life that the only way we're going to get through it is God's going to have to help us. And so we have to give God a chance to work in our favor, in our behalf, to bring us through certain things. The other thing was this, trusting God. Some of them have a very difficult time trusting anybody. Amen. And it's kind of hard to trust God when you can't see God. I often say, we trust other things that we can't see. And some of you already know. When you look at things, you think that the object is solid. I've said that several times. And when you get ready to sit down, you don't think about it. You just sit down. Right? But what about the milk cubes that's in here? Can you see them? Do you believe they exist? You see it? It appears to be solid. What we call solid is really not solid. Huh? You can't see God either. But you can see the effects of God.
Yes, sir.
You can't see the molecules, but you can see the effects of their existence.
That's good. That's good.
Am I talking to anybody in here? So the next time somebody tell you how you can believe in God, well, because I see His effects. They may try to read the effects, but you ought to know beyond a shadow of a doubt. Don't let nobody change your mind. Am I making sense in here? This man comes to Jesus because he has a son who's might near dead. I like to use the old country term, might near dead. Almost dead. Close to death. But Jesus says to him, man, unless you get a sign, you won't believe who I am. Go home, your son living. That was powerful. Powerful. Let me tell you why. Because some folk can't believe in God until they see the hand of God.
Come on, man.
You know how you see the hand of God? You don't. You see the effects of His work. And we call the effects of His work the hand of God. Let me tell you something. So, they sing a song say, touch me. Oh, somebody touched me. And I know it was the hand of the Lord. You're like, how you going to see the hand of the Lord? The Bible says the eyes of the Lord are in every place. Well, let me ask you a question. If it's in every place, do you see His eye in Him? Come on, y'all, talk back to me if you can. So the truth of the matter is that even though you can't see certain things, your faith said it exists. Amen. Our Christian walk is a faith walk. It's not anything else but faith. And if you lose the faith, then what do you have? So Jesus says to this man, am I still making sense now? So Jesus says to this man, the only way you're going to believe that I'm the Messiah is that you've got to see a sign. It's not enough that I preach to you and tell you that God called me to tell you that He's coming back for you real soon. That's not enough for you. You got to see something other than. And so something would happen in our surroundings, in our life, in our spirit. Something would happen will cause us to look and wonder and begin to consider whether or not God is real, God is with me, or whatever. You begin to think about it. Am I telling the truth though? And sometimes it's near-death experience, and sometimes it's death itself cause you to really start thinking, man, God is real. But doctors say you're not going to make it, and you're still here. Huh? Glory to God. The doctors gave up on you, and you're still here. My testimony is I was about 16 years old, 15, 16 years old. I was laying in my bed and went to get up that morning and couldn't even get up. My body wouldn't respond to my mind. And I laid there for hours, crying because I couldn't move. And I went back to sleep. And when I woke up, I was able to get out of bed. Now, what was that? I have no clue. Thank God it hadn't happened to me since. But that was one time was enough for me. So what would it take for you to wait on God? Sometimes we want to make things happen, and we want to get out there and make it happen right now. But if you just wait on God, He'll do it for you. You know the song, the old saint, you say He might not come when you want Him, but He's always on time. So what would it take for you to wait on God? So sometimes we get impatient. And they even some say, you can't hurry, God. You just got to wait. Huh? Trust in Him and give Him time. No matter how long it takes. He's a God. You can't hurry. What they say, He'll be there. So don't you worry. May not come when you want it. I know I got at least one witness here. But He's always. If I was an old Baptist preacher, I'd close right there. And He's always. All the time. But look, listen. So you got to get to a place where you're willing to wait on God. Wait on Him. I told him this morning that what would it take for you to look to Him? To look for Him. Look for Him in this life. Like the man that had a need, he went and found Him. And then someday He's going to come back and He's going to crack the eastern sky. The Bible says He's going to come back on the cloud. The same way He left, He's going to come back on the cloud. And all the believers who love Him, the Bible says, we're going to be waiting for His appearance. Yeah. So what will it take for you to be on that bandwagon that every day of your life, I'm looking for Him coming back? I'm desiring to see him. I'm not just living my life every day without consideration that he's coming back. Every day I'm thinking he's coming back. He might not come back today, but I got faith to say he's coming back. My faith says he's on the way back. Two things.
Good job. You messed up.
Not only is he coming back, but he's coming back for a family of people who are looking for his appearance. Jesus died for us, didn't he? Now, what would it take for you to die for him?
Yeah, I would.
What would it take for you to die for him? Now, you don't go there. I'm not talking about the natural death. I'm not talking about you going home and crucifying yourself. Please don't do that. I don't want to get that phone call. All right? I'm talking about the spiritual death. Denying your flesh, denying oneself, saying, God, no longer my will, but your will. One of the hardest things in the world for us to do is to forgive other people when they've done us wrong. And so we got to get to a place that I'm willing to die to myself. See, I'm having a flashback now. I'm thinking about the folk that owe me money. I got a whole list of folks that owe me money. I mean, literally owe me money. And I had to let it go. You got to, huh? I had to let them go. Because you ain't on the list. I had to let them go. I had to let them go. Let them go in and make it with the money. One young guy not too long ago told me, he said, well, you know, I'm going to pay you back. Then $500 I'm going to pay you back, and I'm going to give it back to you. Well, in fact, $540. He said, I'm going to pay you back probably 50 cents a month. He don't know I'm from the nickel. But I let him make it. Hello, somebody. So listen, so he's going to give me back 50 cents a month. How long is it going to take him to pay me back for $540? I'm going to go. She like an eternity. Okay, so guess what? He ain't gave me the first 50 cents as he said. So should I take for granted that he planned on paying me back? So the best thing I need to do is let it go. Or you can have an attitude every time I see it. But what happens is from this point forward, if you ever have a need, like, keep it moving, keep it moving. If I ain't got no money to give away, I can't let you borrow no money because you don't know how to pay it back. People that don't pay you back, you can't lend. Am I telling the truth? Folks you care about, you just give it to them how much you need. Ain't no big deal. But people that want to borrow your money and never pay you back, you can't afford the attitude. You got to let them keep it. You know why? Because every day you be angry. Am I telling the truth? Anybody ever upset about somebody owing some money? I don't know. Mine was just a little merely $500, but you might be a whole lot more than that. You're like, man, look at that. I mean, you know, you be spiritual. You want to. They're going to pay you back my money. I'm going to be waiting for them. When they get paid, I'm going to stand outside the door with my money. So what will it take for you to die to yourself, to your flesh, to your desires, to the ungodly thing that dwells in us? What will it take for you to get it up? I don't know if I made sense to anybody in this sermon now. But I looked at another passage of scripture and thought about this woman who was at the well, who had met Jesus at the well. It's in the 4th chapter also. She had met Jesus at the well, and Jesus told her all about herself. And in the process, she ran through the city and began to tell everybody about what Jesus said. She gave a testimony. So what I'm going to get Sarah saying here, what would it take for you to tell somebody what God did for you? Why is it essential? The text says, not only did this man believe, but it says his entire household. Is it in the text? Did we read that? His whole household began to believe. You know why? Because what you believe began to infect the people around you. You have an influence on people that's in your circle. And so the people weren't in the streets when he and Jesus had a conversation. But in the conversation, after the end of the conversation, the effects of his working was manifested at his house. The boy was almost dead. The servants at the house watched the boy if he thought he was about to take his last breath, and also the boy just got up and started running around the house. Yeah, you understand. He's laying there and he's got a real high fever, and they can't break the fever, and he's laying there going in convulsions, maybe shaking and everything else, and all of a sudden he just get up and say, what we got to eat around here? like what just happened.
That I.
They went with Jesus, that what they saw was a manifestation of God's word. Can I tell you, sometimes you're praying for people who's not present, but his word goes there and heals them. I don't know why I said that, but see, I was talking to one of my sisters last week, and she said, I don't know what to do. I can't do nothing but pray. I said, girl, prayer works. I mean, don't tell me I can't do nothing else but pray. Don't say it like that. I was almost offended. Girl, prayer works. Don't tell me only that I can do it, pray. No, don't say it like that. No. That ought to be the first thing on your list of things to do. Pray. Why? Because it works. But if you think, I don't have no money, and I ain't got no drugs to help them, I ain't got no pills, I ain't got no nothing, I can't do nothing but pray. That should have been the first thing you did. We got a problem, I'm going to pray. This message is not coming out like the one did this morning, so I guess it wasn't a good one. Must have been my Sunday school lesson, and the other must have really been my Easter speech from here. I said it. And you can have what you say, I guess. Hello, Pastor. So look what the scripture says. The scripture says that when the father knew that it was, that's 53rd verse, knew it was at the same hour in which Jesus said unto him, thy son liveth. And at this point, and himself believed, and his what? His house, his whole house believed what? Not believe that Jesus was a healer, but they believed he was the messenger of God. And I don't know how else to say this to you all. Don't dismiss the miracles of God when he gives them to you and give them to somebody else. I know they say it's medical miracles and all that kind of stuff. And because of medical science, whatever. Where does knowledge come from for science? I mean, the Bible says every good and perfect gift comes from the Lord. And so whatever we have, it came from God, even though you can't see it. Oh no, I got up every day and went to work. That's how I got what I got. I worked real hard to obtain what I have. Yeah, you did. But where does life come from? Where did the blood that runs through your vein, where did it come from? So everything we have is because God manifested in our life. You might not see him literally saying, oh, I brought you something. But baby, when you get up and you get it, you better know God gave it to you. Yeah, everything you have comes from God. The house you live in, the clothes you wear, glory to God, the car you drive, car you borrow, all that. All comes from God. So you got to know it comes from God. No matter how you got it, it still came from God. Now I'm going to say this here. I remember when our kids were real small and things would happen. The wife would give the kids something and say, thank you, Mom. And Mom had to tell them, say, that came from me and your daddy. There's something about what Mama gave to you like Mom gave to me. Don't know. Daddy had something to do with it too. You didn't see Daddy, but he had something to do with it. Am I making sense? So you can't see God, but you've got to know God had something to do with this. And I don't know if I'm making sense to y'all or not. So anything that happened in your life, even though you can't see him, you got to know it was God. It was God that brought you through this, that delivered you, that blessed you. I think about how many accidents I've been in my lifetime. Some of them I should have been dead, but I'm still here. And I now look back and realize it was just God. I mean, the accident, the car spinning around like this right here, and we right here in slow motion. Yes, I know. Yes. Slow. And then when it finally settled in, you're like, wow. I mean, it was fascinating. It wasn't when you finally come to a stop, it scared you half to death. But I mean, when it was happening, like, whoa, the mind is amazing. How all this stuff is happening. You're like, you know what? I was in an accident. I wasn't even freaking out when it was happening. Like, wow, like looking at a movie. And then boom! I'm like, oh, God. Are y'all all right in here? But without the fact, guess what? I don't supposed to be here. But I'm here. You know why? God. And it's because God has a purpose for my life.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to leave you on this note. The young man was near to death. Might be a dead. Yeah, I feel like that might be a stuff. He was near to death. But Jesus spoke one word. And he lived. I wonder what his purpose was. Maybe his purpose was only to shine a light in the house where he was. Because nothing he said that affected the lives of the other people in the house. But what happened to him affected everybody. Am I making sense on that point? See, sometimes it's not what you say, it's what you allow God to show through you. People are watching our lives every day. And they're looking for something. They don't know what they're looking for. How about this? Next time they look at you, why don't you show them God? And when they ask you why you believe what you believe, say, he's real. My Easter speech is, he's risen. And no other explanation needed. He's risen. I hope I made sense to somebody. Bless y'all. I'm going to pray. And I'm getting out of here because I got other things I need to do, like eat.